So we go into NBC, we tell them I got an idea for a show about nothing.
Exactly.
They say, what's your show about? I say nothing.
There you go.
I think you may have something here.
Hey guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Helloooo from Movie Hero, a show about nothing. Yeah, and today we're going to be covering 2 episodes. We've been kind of trucking our way through season 1 and season 6. So I'm your host tonight, Steve Gendison, aka Jordan Anderson, and then we have Austin Pez, aka Poor Pinkus.
Poor little Pinkus. We'll get to that in the second episode.
Yeah. Nice. And Austin, you're broadcasting live from
Orlando tonight, from a hotel outside of Universal Studios. So I'm live on location for Helloooo from Movie Hero, and I'll be live on location tomorrow night for Tournament Fights Battles as well. So yes, even on my vacation, I'm here for all of you people out there.
That's right.
I'm here for you.
Who's that dedicated? Yep.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, so we'll just kind of jump into it. We'll start with season 1, episode 2, male unbonding. So,
and we should clarify. Technically, this might be episode 4, but we're going on the order that's on the DVDs that we have, the old Seinfeld sets. Because technically this one aired 4th, but it was produced 2nd, if you could follow that. So it's the second produced episode, but the 4th that actually aired.
Yeah, that's the aired. So it's kind of in like a different order, like based on whether you look at the DVD set or if you go into Wikipedia, they kind of have it in like different order. So yeah.
But
yeah, for season 1, episode 2, we'll start. Okay, who wants meatloaf? Gonna be hot in a minute.
Well, I'm thinking about going to Iran this summer, Jordan. Hezbollah invited me to perform.
Nice. You have to see if you can catch where the quotes are within the episode.
Yeah.
We go through it, but yeah. So this episode is entitled "Male Unbonding," and this episode it was originally aired on February 3rd, 1990. So. And we kind of already mentioned the stuff that it's the let's see. So it was the second episode, but the 4th one filmed. But like funny enough, like there's some kind of things about like how they actually filmed it. Like funny enough, this. There's a scene, the very first time that you see Jerry and Elaine, it'll be the first scene of them that they ever shot together. So they kind of shot that. Like it's kind of weird, like the order that they shot things in.
Well, and in the episode, she just kind of shows up out of nowhere. There's not even really an intro. Like they just they do a cut from like one scene to another, and all of a sudden they're in his apartment, and Elaine's there, and they don't even really like acknowledge really who Elaine is, or that she's even like a part of the gang. You're like, oh, is this like one of Jerry's girlfriends? Like, what's going on? Like, you're not sure, and it's just kind of weird, like kind of how out of order it is. I know it's like one of the first times she shows up, but it's just really strange. Like, the way they kind of introduce but not introduce Elaine. So, it's a little odd.
Yeah, and. Because they did that, like it makes it kind of feel like it's not really like a first season episode. It almost feels like a second, third, or 4th season episode. Kind of like it doesn't really feel that because they're not really introducing her. Like she's just kind of there. So
but kind of at the same time, like this episode overall really feels like a first season one because like I just thought the pacing of this one was like really slow and sluggish. Like we'll talk about it, but like I just felt like a lot of the scenes just kind of like dragged on. Like I know that they would get faster with the editing, the kind of pacing that we're used to, sort of like we see when we jump to season 6 in these episodes. But like it just feels like, especially like the open of this one and the scene with him and Joel in the coffee shop that we'll talk about, they just kind of go like on and on and on. It's like you're kind of waiting for them to cut and like go on, and it just keeps going. So you can see where maybe they made changes when they brought in new directors and maybe some new writers and kind of picked up the pace of the show a little bit, because like the dialogue itself is still good. It's just like I think it's better with that later Seinfeld pacing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Because and also a little note about the episode. So usually, like the titles of every episode, they always have the word "the" in there, and it's like the something or there. So you have like the limo, you have the marine biologist, you have like the marble ride, just like episodes that are titled that way. But Jerry Seinfeld actually chose to do it that way in order to avoid like hours of like writer trying to come up with like some kind of clever name for each episode. So to have the episode for season 1, episode 2, just male unbonding, doesn't have the word "the" in it, and it's one of the very few exceptions that you really ever see to this rule, like pretty much in the whole series. So
I think there's only two of these that don't have the word "the" in front of them, and one of them is the male unbonding. Yeah, because Jerry just told them, he was like, "Yeah, don't come up with clever, goofy names like Friends does or Cheers, or just like find something in the episode to call it that." So like you said, like the Marble Rye is like a main plot line of that episode, so just call it the Marble Rye. Like, just don't make this too complicated. Just call it something in the episode. Just call it the contest. Whatever. Just keep it simple.
And actually, it works because like when you're like trying to like recall an episode, it just makes it easier for the viewers to kind of just be like, oh yeah, that one's the Marble Rye. That's the one that's all about the Marble Rye.
Well, as we'll see in our second episode, it's called The Big Salad, and you immediately think to George going, "The Big Salad."
Yeah,
you immediately recall the moment. So yeah, it makes it kind of easy.
Yeah. So, but we'll just kind of jump into the episode. So we start out with Jerry doing stand up as usual per like every episode opens with that. But there's a little note that said that originally that the scene was a very brightly lit with an old time piano in the background to kind of give a feeling that Jerry was performing in like a church basement or something similar like that. But eventually the stage was changed to some more darker lighting, giving it more of a nightclub feel. And they had Jerry perform the stand up a second time with that kind of lighting and stuff. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and we would see like in the later episodes, it seemed to be pretty much the same nightclub over and over. Like he was just a regular at whatever nightclub was probably near his apartment or something. Maybe like an Improv or something like that, or a Comedy Store or whatever. And and this one, like it feels a little strange. Like the noise is a little off. Like some of the audience noise, things like that. It definitely looks a little different. Again, like we saw with the pilot episode, it has a different vibe to it, and it's not like a 30-second or 60-second thing. This opening thing from Jerry goes on for like 2.5 minutes. Like it's really long. Like I kept waiting for it to cut, and it just keeps. It's relative. I'm not saying it's long overall, but like it's relatively long for the usual openings that we're used to for Seinfeld.
Yeah. And also they kind of added in some like shots from the crowd too. That like I almost kind of thought that they're gonna have like that, like Joel, forget his last name, but like have him pop up in it though. Like he's gonna be one of the guys sitting in the crowd. Like almost like expecting that, but just like no, that's just like a choice that they made to kind of show the crowd, which they don't do later on. So
I think the only times they do it is when it's part of the plot, like if Kramer is in the crowd, or if like Kathy Griffin was in the crowd in those episodes where she's kind of stalking him, or if that the lady who laughs really loud, who interrupts the show, things like that, where it's like part of the plot is like people in the crowd. That's the only times they really like show the crowd later on in the series is when it's like part of it.
Yeah, but like basically though, like when Jerry's stand up, he's just talking about how like men like working on things. So he's like tools, objects, fixing things. This is what men enjoy doing. Have you ever noticed that the guy's out on his driveway and he's working on something with tools? How all the other men in the neighborhood are magnetically drawn to the activity. They just come wandering out of the house like zombies. like men. It's true. Like men hear a drill. It's like a dog whistle. Just they go up to the living room curtain and like, honey, I think Jim's working on something over there. So they run over to the guy. And they don't actually help the guy. They just want to hang around the guy, the area where the work is being done. That's what the men want to do. So they start asking questions, like is it a Phillips head or like what are you using, So yeah, so like basically he's just like
guy's kind of nodding along, just wanting to be around the work, and he's talking about how that's why construction sites have to have like fences around them so the guys don't get too close to the construction, like hanging around the guys actually doing all the work, and then where they just have the little holes in it so guy dudes can kind of peek in and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Too close. Yeah. So
Right.
yeah, it's a whole thing about just guys like to hang around, men doing work, which is also why, Jordan, if you ever see like a construction crew or a highway crew or something, there's always like one guy doing work and the other 6 guys are just kind of standing around and watching. You always wonder why these projects take so long with government contractors. There's always like one guy doing work and 7 other guys standing around and doing nothing.
Yeah, right. It's like always how it is. Like I've even done some like temp construction work in the past before. That's always how it is because always one guy is like the expert who like really knows what he's doing. The other guys kind of know, but they want the expert doing all the work. So it like turns out the best it can be. So they have the one guy doing it, who everyone can just kind of watch, and like some guys are like watching just for the fun of it. Some guys are lazy. They want to stand around, and some are actually trying to learn what the guy's doing. So it's kind of like a mix. But before we get too far, since we're kind of near the beginning of the episode, I was just going to point out that I wanted to feature one of the Seinfeld pop figures every time. So I got this big giant Kramer with the painting. So I'm going to have that with me tonight. But that's it. That's one of the ones that
with the portrait called the Kramer, right?
Yeah, right. The Kramer. Yep.
The Kramer.
There it is. Yep. Yeah. So I just wanted to show off that. But
alludes a sort of rugged masculinity. Wouldn't you agree, Jordan?
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. They need to have the one with George in his underwear. They need to make a pop figure of that.
Yeah. We get kind of a unique open after that with George and Jerry, where they're kind of doing their usual like back and forth open, and it's kind of unique, Jordan, because we see them get into the elevator of the apartment building, and then we actually follow them up the elevator and like into the actual hallway where Jerry lives. And I want to say this is the first time we've ever really seen that I could recall.
Yeah, right.
Like I didn't remember this at all, where we kind of literally followed them from like the lobby all the way to his apartment door. It's kind of interesting. Like I just don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like how they do it on Big Bang Theory. Most episodes kind of that go up the elevator, they like go to the apartment, but
because I remember stuff like the Kiss Hello episode where everybody is like kissing Jerry on the cheek and he gets sick of it. But like you see like the elevator in those scenes and him going up and down, but like we've never followed them all the way like in a continuous shot. It was kind of interesting to me. It kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah. And then they have a conversation there about like George being on a date and like some kind of floss stuck to his fingers or something like that.
I don't know what he's talking about here. Like we're throwing in this conversation. I watched this episode 3 times. I still don't know what he's talking about in this.
No, me neither.
Something like some awkward situation where he went to go buy something and he found floss in his pocket and he freaked out and he told a girl he liked her. I'm like Jerry. Where's the problem here? Like, I don't understand what the issue is. And like, even Jerry's like confused. Like, what are you talking about? Like, because she saw some floss on your hands and like, you told her you liked her. Was it too soon that you told her you liked her? Like, I didn't understand the conflict here. Like, this was one of the weird things of this episode is like George's little conflict he's having through. Like, I watched it 3 times and I'm still confused on what actually happened. I don't think this part was written very well, to be honest.
No,
I don't know.
No. And then the only thing I really like about it is that when they get to the top, they get out of the elevator, and then he's like complaining about the floss, and then like Jerry, he just looked down and like George is wearing a fanny pack. So he's like, "You don't think I might have anything to do with that?" He's like what? What, you don't like this? It looks like your belt's is digesting a small animal or something.
Yeah,
like even back then, fanny packs weren't cool. So.
I have a leather fanny pack that I sometimes wear when I travel. I almost wore it for this trip, but I didn't. Only because I think when you're going through security at the airport, it actually makes it a lot easier because I could pile all this stuff in my pockets into the fanny pack and then just like put it on the conveyor belt, and it makes it a lot easier. But like I didn't bring it this trip. But I have worn it with my ex, and she was not too thrilled. I was kind of embarrassing her with this fanny pack, but I was like, Joe Rogan wears a fanny pack. Like there's fighters that wear a fanny pack.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know. They're kind of coming back. They're kind of convenient. They're not bad.
my sister keeps saying that the fanny packs are making a comeback. She has one, but like I don't really see them really anywhere else. So I don't know how much they're really making a comeback. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just out of the loop. I don't know.
Well, they get to the apartment, and by the way, we get a glimpse of not 5A, but 411 as the apartment number. Like a strange thing where Jerry's apartment kind of changed over time as the series went along. But Kramer, we get a little bit of his. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that. But they even say that it changes from 411, and then a couple later episodes, it goes actually to 3A, and then it goes to 5A, which is kind of interesting. Did you notice that? Yeah. But,
well, we get a little bit of Kramer's early seasons conspiracy stuff. He's talking about, oh yeah, they've got a cure for cancer. It's all big business. They make money. And he's just talking about like he's on the phone with somebody, and then he hands the phone to Jerry, and Jerry's like, "What the? It's for you." And it's Jerry's buddy that kind of becomes the main plot of the story. Joel that he doesn't really want to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, like he kind of looked at him weird. He's like, well, like who is it? And he's like, just answer it. Like it's for you. And he's like, oh, hi, Joel. And he kind of hits him with the magazine. He's like, no, I was out of town. I just got back. Kramer doesn't know anything. He's just my next door neighbor, And then like we can kind of like already hear him kind of trying to make up excuses for things. Like he wants to get together with him. He's like, Tuesday. No, Tuesday I'm meeting somebody. He's like Wednesday.
I'm meeting. He goes. I'm meeting somebody.
Yeah,
there's like a pause. Somebody.
Yeah.
Clearly lying.
But you can tell clearly he doesn't want to talk to him because he's like, all right, I'm a little busy right now. Can we talk Wednesday morning? But but I don't know if he's really that busy. But he just kind of wants to get him off the phone.
No. He just it's that thing of like, when you don't want to talk to somebody and you're like, oh, I got somebody at the door. I've got my. He's even done stuff in other episodes where I've heard him go like, knock, knocking.
Yeah. And we might be a little frozen, but
we're good now.
Yeah. But yeah, and look, he's like Jerry's like, why did you put me on the phone with him? I hate just being handed a phone. He's like, well, it's your phone. He wanted to talk to it. He's like, maybe I didn't want to talk to him. He's like, why not? He's like, well, it bothers me. I don't even answer the phone anymore because of him. He turned me into a screener, and now I got to go see him on Wednesday. And then like George is like, what do you mean Wednesday? I thought we had tickets to the Knicks game Wednesday. We got seats right behind the bench. We're not going. And then he's like that's next Wednesday. And then he like goes in the like whole story, like how like when he was a kid, there's the guy Joel Hornick that lived 3 houses down from him, and he liked him because he had a ping pong table. So he's like, should I suffer for the rest of my life because I like to play ping pong? I was 10. He's like, I would have been friends with Stalin if he had a ping pong table. He's so self-involved.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We get the first reference as Kramer's phone rings in his pocket, of course. We get the first reference to Kramerica Industries, which would come back later in the show. Yeah, he answers Kramerica Industries, and we get an early. I forgot about this. We get an early reference to Kramer's idea that would come around later with Poppy with the pizza place where you make your own pizza. He's pitching it to somebody here on the phone. And obviously we get that later with the Poppy episode where he actually uses Poppy's place to make his own pizza. So it's like 5 or 6 episodes or 5 or 6 seasons ahead of when they actually would go through with it here.
Yeah. And like when he said it the first time, I was like, wait a minute, like wasn't that like on a later episode? But then like I kind of realized, no, that it's reference here, and there's another episode about it down the road, kind of thing. Yeah.
It's one later down the road, but he literally has the same line of dialogue when it comes back around in the later season, where he's like repitching the idea kind of to Jerry, and he's going, you pound the dough, you put the sauce on there, you put the cheese, and you slide it in the oven, all that stuff.
Slide it in the oven.
It's like it's all supervised, Like it's literally almost the same line of dialogue in both episodes, so you can tell they went back and kind of just kind of recopied some of this dialogue.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, but yeah, they kind of go back to like how he doesn't want want to talk to this Hornet guy. And he's like, I don't bother with him. He's been calling me for 7 years. I've never called him once. He's got the attention span of a 5-year-old sometimes. He's like, I sit there and I make up things just to see if he's paying attention. And then George is like, I don't understand why you spend time with this guy. And he's like, what can you do? What can I do? Break up with him? I mean, tell him I don't think we're right for each other. He's a guy. Like, at least women, there's a precedent, the relationship goes sour, then you end it. But then he's like, tell him, no. Like you got to approach it like he is a woman. You got to break up with him. Just break up with him. Tell him the truth,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the idea is what we get into. There's a brief another stand-up bit where he's talking about the whole premise again, kind of like, Bill, I think we should start seeing other men, breaking it, the whole idea of breaking up the guy. And but it's really short. This one's only like about 20-30 seconds, and then we actually get to see Joel, and he's played by Kevin Dunn, who's a character actor who I think again, most people would probably know best from the Transformers movies. He plays Shia LaBeouf's dad in those movies. And he's also, I mean, he's been in like 1,000 things, but we recently saw him in a football movie. We saw him on Draft Day, but he's been in like 1,000 things. But it's Kevin Dunn. He's recognizable. You know him if you see him. And so they're meeting at and this is apparently the first time we see Monk's Coffee Shop is him and Joel sitting in the booth there.
Yeah, and as a little side note, when they're casting the role of George Costanza, they actually briefly considered Kevin Dunn for the role too. So that we could have had a totally different George, which I'm so glad they ended up going with Jason Alexander though. Like he's just perfect for it. So well, and another connection to our sister show live from Movie Hero is that he is the brother of Nora Dunn, who we're currently watching on our SNL season. So so it's all connected, Jordan, like we always talk about. It's all relative. Yeah. So like basically though, he's like having a conversation with them, and then there's kind of just like shooting the breeze, but like Jerry starts to notice, so like whatever he says, like he's not really paying attention. He has a really like bad attention span. Like he keeps interrupting him. Like he's like yelling at the waitress, hey, we're starving over here. We're waiting for 10 minutes already. Come on. And he's like, so I'm thinking about going to Iran this summer. I'm just like the quote I said, he's like, they invited me to, or I think I'm gonna go to Iran this summer. Hezbollah invited me to perform at their annual terrorist luncheon. And of course, Joel's he's still got his like side attention to like the waitress trying to get her attention. He's like not even listening, so he just keeps going on about how just keeps making stuff up, and he's not listening. And Joel is. You can see Jerry's getting really uncomfortable because Joel's like berating this like poor waitress who he's doing something that I used to travel with a guy, Jordan, on a wrestling trips who would do the same thing where we'd be in like drive-through lines and he'd be asking the drive-through person like, what kind of lettuce do you put on the burgers? Is it like iceberg or romaine? And be like, do you have like gluten-free bread or do you have like wheat bread? Like just just one of those guys that like has to know every particular about anything, and it's just annoying. It's just like, just order something off the damn menu and let's move on with our lives. Well, like for me, like I kind of have to do that because like I'm kind of picky when it comes to a lot of vegetables. So like I always ask like if it has any vegetables, so I can just be like take them off or whatever. So, you can't scrape them off yourself, Jordan. Are you one of those guys who can't take off the tomato off the hamburger? No, because it leaves a residue, and you can still. Because it leaves a tomato seed on there. Tomato seed and like some tomato juice. I don't want. You don't want to taste none of that. No. Sure. Like nobody wants that flavor. Right. But gotcha. But so like he's like, they're kind of berating the waitress over like processed turkey or like turkey on a turkey roll or something like that. Yeah, he's wanting to know like what specific turkey it is and like this whole thing is going on. You can see Jerry's like getting like really uncomfortable and he's getting really embarrassed and he starts going into the whole like conversation basically you would have with a girl where he's just like Joel, I think we should stop seeing each other, and he's like it is the whole like it's not you, it's me thing. Like it's not you, Joel, it's me. Like it's me. I it's all my fault. And then he literally starts like suited to be almost friends. He almost starts like breaking down and crying, and like Jerry starts to like backtrack. Whereas like like, no, you didn't do anything. It's not you, it's me. Then he's
It's
like,
me.
but he's like, no. Like, look, I call you too much. I mean, I know that you're a really busy guy. He's like, no. That's not that. Then he's like, you're one of the few people I can talk to. He's like, that's not true. And he's like, oh yeah, it is. I always tell everybody about you. I tell everyone to go see your show. I mean, I'm your biggest fan. And then like eventually he just kind of just like backtracked when
He's just like, we're still friends.
Yeah.
We're still friends. I'm sorry.
friends.
We're still friends. You know.
I didn't mean it. Yeah.
And then he offers him, of course, him and George have Knicks tickets, and he kind of makes a mistake. He offers Joel the Knicks ticket, George's basketball ticket, and Madison Square Garden, and then he kind of realizes what he did, and he kind of realizes he's got to tell George that he gave away his Knicks ticket. So,
but he's like one of those friends that like always says the most annoying things and always calling you at like awkward times, or always like just like chiming in at like weird times that really don't make any sense, because like we can like say something like we offers a Knicks ticket to him for next Wednesday, but he's like, tonight? He's like, no, next Wednesday. If it was tonight, I would have said tonight. He's just got to get annoyed again. It's like hello. But
yeah. Pay attention. He's still not listening.
Yeah. But like one of the funny things that like he's just crying, and then all of a sudden when they make up, he just goes right back to berating the waitress. He's like, where the hell is that?
Is that waitress? Where's she?
Waitress. Hey, like where you at? Yeah.
Where you at? I hate those people, dude, who are just like, check please, garçon, call, you know, whatever. Like I hate. Oh,
check
God,
please.
I hate that. Check please.
Yeah.
So we get back to George's weird thing that I still don't know what's going on with this girl, and I guess he had an awkward breakup because they're talking in line at the bank, and George has got this like giant water jug of like pennies. It's like this big, you know, it's like 6,000 pennies, he says, something like that, which is only like $60. It's really not that much money. But he's like, it's something about they were having like lunch and they like broke up, but he still stayed and ate the egg salad sandwich. But then he's mad because she didn't even offer to pay for him, even though she was doing the breakup. Like it's this whole thing. And they're kind of going, and he's like, have you had their egg salad? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. You know, but it's
like, it's unbelievable. Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But and so and then he's trying to like cash in the pennies, but they won't take them because, of course, these banks, you can't turn in change unless it's rolled, Jordan. You have to roll.
Yeah, right. Yep. You gotta roll it.
That's why. That's why they invented.
Do it now, but
oh no, those Coinstar machines, those coin sorting machines will like do it now, but like back in the day, like you had to roll those coins to go take them to the bank. They wouldn't just take a jar of coins.
Yeah, where he's like, what am I supposed to do? Quit my job to enroll this or whatever?
It's gonna take forever. And then don't we get another quick stand-up bit where Jerry's talking about the twisty turny zigzaggy lines at the bank, and how even if there's like nobody in there, you still gotta like wind your way through the maze like a rat chasing cheese in some lab.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just a quick thing. It's like 15 seconds.
But like the one thing to note though, like Jerry telling him that he gave his ticket to like Hornick though, and then he's just like so it kind of makes him when he gets up to like the front line, he's all kind of ticked off and stuff. And he's like, "What did you give him my ticket for?" He's like, "You didn't see him. It was horrible. Like you never seen a grown man cry or whatever." And so like he's like saying that like how he had to pretty much.
Yeah, he had no choice.
Like,
He's kind of forced into it to make it up to him. Yeah. So he's kind of mad, but he's like, oh, and then it kind of goes back, and he's like, man, I think later on he's like, I'll tell him like I can't do it either. I'll give him like both the tickets. He's like, how is that any better? Now you're gonna give him both our tickets because he cried, all this kind of stuff. But but he's like, now like I don't even want to go with him. Like let's make up some fake excuse as to why I can't go to the game, and then he's like, wait a minute. As long as you're going to lie to the guy, why don't you tell him that you lost both the tickets, and then we can go to the game still or whatever. So he's like George, just kind of being George, trying to find a way around him. Yeah, but then that's when like Kramer just kind of bursts in and like starts talking about the pizza idea, like making it and like shoving it in the oven, all that stuff, and then
like George is like, he's like, you can't do that kind of thing. You can't have people shoving their arms into a 600-degree oven. Come on. He's like, it's all supervised. Huh?
It's all supervised.
Yeah,
It's all supervised. Yeah.
Well, all right then. Fine.
All right. Yeah.
Like, you want to
And then,
invest? He's like, my money's all tied up in change right now, or whatever.
Right.
He's like counting all the change, like trying to like get it in, but they keep falling out or whatever, and he's getting frustrated.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we kind of had, like we were talking about, we kind of have an awkward jump, and we're kind of at the apartment at nighttime, and all of a sudden there's Elaine. Just like Elaine is like out of nowhere, she's here.
Yeah.
And she's just like sitting there, like leaning on Jerry's like, like bar counter or whatever, and he's just like, all right, you want to go do something? She's just like, I don't want to sit around here. And he's like, all right, what do you want to do? You want to get something to eat? She's like, I don't know, I'm not really hungry.
Yeah. Well, she's eating something though, but then she's saying, well, not really, really hungry. And she's like, we can go to one of those cappuccino places. They let you just sit there. And he's like, what are we gonna do? There, talk? He's like, we can talk. He's like, well,
she's like, I'll go if I don't talk.
Yeah. He's like, all right, we'll just sit there. He's like, all right, I'm gonna check my machine or whatever. And she goes to
I mean, it's good. It's a good typical like Jerry Elaine back and forth dialogue. It's just awkward if you're seeing the show for the first time. You're like, who is this lady who just showed up out of nowhere? Like, who is this Elaine?
Yeah,
you don't already know the show because like she literally has like almost no introduction. She's just like kind of shoehorned into this, almost one of these final scenes here, like for the episode.
But I wonder though, like if like how it is on the DVD isn't how it was originally aired, and so like maybe there's a better introduction on like some other episode.
She might be in that. She might be in that stakeout episode, although she's not in 2 of the episodes. She's the one who's in the least amount of episodes because she's not in 2 of them because all the other cast members were in all of them. So like she's not in. So she may have not showed up to like the 3rd episode or something crazy like that.
Yeah, right. but like you see Elaine kind of find the little piece of paper where it has all of Jerry's excuses. So she's like picking someone up at the airport, jury duty, waiting for the cable guy. He's like, what's this? He's like, all right, hand it over. He's like, what is it? Like, it's a list of excuses for that guy Hornick who's at the game night with my tickets. I have the list now, so in case he calls, I can consult it and then I don't have to see him. And then so like she's just like laughing about it. And he starts writing some down. She's like, I got some more for you. He's like, listen, you ran out of underwear and you can't leave the house or something like that. Yeah,
you're like a multiple personality, and it's not really you right now. It's Dan.
It's Dan, yeah.
and he's just saying, she's just like, what are you gonna, you gotta lie to this guy the rest of your life? And he's like, I'd rather lie than go through what I went through again. The man had tears with mucus coming out.
Yeah. Then he's like, well, she's like, deal with it, be a man. And he's like, he's like, you made a man cry. He's like, I've never made a man cry, and I even kicked the guy in the groin once, and he didn't cry. But I got the cab.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then Kramer shows up, and he's got Joel in turn. And you find out that Kramer actually went to the Knicks game with Joel because of their little conversation they had on the phone. So Joel invited Kramer, and he's like, talking about how we were sitting right behind the edge. We got sweat,
sweat.
Sweat. Yeah. And then of course Joel comes in, and Jerry had given the excuse that he was tutoring his nephew in math, but obviously that wasn't true. And he sees Elaine, and he's just like, hey, howdy, nephew. Just kind of like thinking that he's like, he just walked in on Elaine. Yeah. And he starts to try to like hit on Elaine a little bit. Like you get the feel like apparently there was some deleted thing where near the end where he started hitting on her. Like he actually tried to ask her out, which makes sense because that's kind of where the scene is going.
Yeah. And like right before Hornick walks in, and you get the little quote that I use where it's like, okay, he wants meatloaf. He has this bottle of ketchup in his hand. And they're like, no, thanks. And he's like, it's gonna be hot in a minute, and he just walks out, just saying some random thing. Yeah, it's like meatloaf, okay. Yeah, but yeah, so you have Hornick kind of hitting on Elaine, and then like he wants to. He's like thanks again for the tickets, but next week I'm going to take you. So what about next Tuesday night? And he's like, Elaine
We got choir
Why don't you
practice.
come with us? Yeah, it's like we got choir practice. He's like, we're doing that evening of Eastern
I forgot about
European.
choir practice.
It's like an evening of Eastern European national anthems or something.
Yeah. So
He's like, right. He's like,
excuses.
with the wall being down and everything. Yeah. But like then he starts going through like every single game. He's like, what about Thursday night? I mean, they're playing the Sonics, and he's like,
he's going through the entire schedule. Yeah, the home game versus this guy, this one.
And like they have all the excuses. Like Thursday's no good because we got to go see if we qualify to become organ donors or something like that. Yeah. So he's like going through it over and over, like pretty much till like the end of the episode, pretty much. So.
Yeah, and then we see Jerry in the nightclub one last time. He's just doing a thing about the friends you're trying to get rid of, and you wish you had like a little talk show setting so you could just be like, oh, you know what? I'd like to get to the story, but we're all out of time. Darn, you know.
It's been great, but we're out of time. Yep.
Yeah, we're out of time.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it on Bonnie. I mean, this episode, again, some of the dialogue is good. I like the situation of dealing with the male friend. I just, some of these, like, then again, you know, when we're doing these episodes, Jordan, where we watch these episodes like 3 times because we got to watch them, and then we watch them and do some notes, and then I like watch them again one more time before we go live, and it's like this episode just feels slow. Like a lot of the scenes just kind of go on for a while. Again, it's this first season pacing that's not quite there yet. It's not bad. It's just like it's not an episode I'm going to go back to anytime soon. That's just all I'm going to say. Like, there's a couple of good moments, but it's not great.
Yeah, right. But I had one last little note about the ending of it. So like you can actually find on a deleted scene. So like there's an alternate ending to the episode. So where Jerry actually tells off Hornick at the end, and then so he like storms out. But then at the end he just pops his head back in. He's like, "I'll return your Katie Lang tape next week" or something. He's like,
"Oh yeah."
He's like, "Oh no, you just keep it or whatever," because he doesn't want to see him again.
Oh sure.
Yeah. So yeah, but
I think they felt like it was probably enough at that point. Like we kind of, it's like we got it, you know, like we got what this guy's deal is.
We already get it. Yeah. But if you were to give the episode a rating out of 10, what would you?
To me, it's like right in the middle. It's like a 5. It's like maybe a 4.5 or a 5 because again, there's a couple of good situations. I like the back and forth with him and Joel where he's like making up the stuff about like Iran, dude's not paying attention, you know, because I've had situations like that where somebody's not listening to you, you know, and they just keep going on and on and on. You can just say whatever you want.
Yep.
You know, again, the George stuff, I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't think that was fleshed out very well. So like that part of the episode is kind of bad.
No idea what was even happening.
And again, the back and forth with Jerry and Elaine was good, but it just kind of came out of nowhere. Like there was just like no setup for it. It just felt very like
left
abrupt.
Field,
yeah, it just felt abrupt. So I mean, there's good chunks of dialogue in here. There's a couple of good situations. The episode feels a little clunky, if that makes sense. Just a little clunky here and there. That's all.
Yeah, like I was a little higher. Like I gave it a 7, just because like I like all the Kramer stuff too. Like I thought like it was funny hearing him talk about like the pizza place, and he ends up going to like the game with Hornick and all that stuff. So like I thought that was was like some funny stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, but there's some really good Kramer and Jerry in the next episode that we're going to talk about. Like, just some really funny Kramer moments in this next one, and we get to have a little Newman too, as we'll get into it, which is always fun.
Yeah, the next episode, like, I had to try and stop myself from almost writing down almost every line from this episode because it's really good. So,
we can't just sit here and read the script, you know, back and forth. It'll take forever. But yeah, no, there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good stuff in this one, and we should say it's season 6, episode 2, entitled "The Big Salad," and
the Big Salad.
From September 22nd, 1994, I believe, is what I have.
Yeah. Yep, and on the quote that I had, people on dates shouldn't be allowed in public.
The one I picked was, "I've looked into his eyes. He's pure evil."
He's pure evil. Yeah.
And we'll get to those in just a minute. But yeah, it's the Big Salad, which a lot of even casual fans will know the quote from George about the Big Salad, and we'll kind of get into what the plot line is of that as we get into it. But yeah, there's a couple of little plot lines going through this one, but they're much more fleshed out in this one, I would say. This is a good example of like a typical later Seinfeld episode. There's a lot of good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. So basically, he's open with his stand-up. He just talking about like going into a stationery store and like buying pens over and over again. It's like they're making millions of pens every week. I don't know where they are because he always loses them. So like as soon as he has one, like he never have a pen. When
He's like,
one,
I must have bought 6,000 pens. I've only used up maybe 2 or 3 of them. I don't know where the rest of them go.
Yeah, right. That always happens.
He's like, they're making millions of pens.
Thing.
Where are they? Nobody ever has a pen. Do you have a pen? I don't have a pen. And funny enough, Jordan, everywhere I go, I carry like 3 pens on me. I don't know if you know this about me. I always have like 3 pens in my pocket. So I'm always the one that always has a pen because everywhere I go, I get frustrated because you go to a restaurant, the pen doesn't work. You go to the bank, the pen doesn't work. You go anywhere, and the pen doesn't work. So I always bring my own. I bring 2 pens everywhere I go.
It's the same with me. I got a couple of, like a Sharpie and a regular pen. You never know. I
carry a Sharpie on me too. Yeah, I have a Sharpie and like 2 or 3 pens on me all the time. You never know. You may need that Sharpie to like write something on your hand or draw a picture.
Yeah, right.
Write a big X on something. I don't know. Whatever you're gonna do.
Or like the one time that I randomly ran into David Hasselhoff out on the wild. I could have gotten an autograph, but I didn't have a pen.
I didn't have a pen.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a whole thing just about where are all the pens, and it's a typical later season 30-second quick opening, just kind of setting up 1 or 2 of the plot lines that are going to happen. It kind of sets up. We open with Elaine at a stationery store, and she's trying to order the Roll-A-Neck 1000, Jordan.
Yeah. But the guy, he's like so creepy though. Like the guy that's there, he's like subtly trying to kind of flirt with Elaine, but
he's doing that weird thing that clerks do sometimes, where he's got like his elbow on the table and he's kind of looking at her like real close, just like, what kind of pen do you want?
The
Roll-A-Neck 1000. That's a good one.
He's like, oh yeah, I'm sure it is. He's like, but they're pretty expensive. Yeah. He's like, what's for my boss? And then he's like, ooh, like, what do you do? And he's like, whatever. Like she doesn't want to tell him any information.
Well, let me just get your name and number. What's your name?
Your phone number,
Elaine. And he's like, and their last name, it's just Elaine. Like Cher. Just one name.
Cher, yeah. And she gives him Jerry's phone number. It's like a weird number. Like how she says it, she's like KL52390. I'm like, all right, they use letters, I guess.
Well, it's the 555, Jordan.
Yeah, KL5.
Right. They just a different way of saying the fake 555 number. But it reminded me of the other time there was that other episode where she gives the one guy the phone number of like the betting place, like the horse racing place. Do you remember that? She gives all the guys who hit on her. She gives this card with like the number from the racing place, and they finally find out who she is. Like that's what it kind of reminded me of. She never gives out her own phone number. She's always giving out other people's phone numbers.
Yeah, and then the guy he just is like still being creepy. He's like okay, thanks a lot. You'll be hearing from me or whatever.
Yeah, right.
There's that guy who's got ideas or something, Yeah.
And then they run into to George on the street, and we should talk about this real quick. We get them walking up and down the street, which is very typical of the later episodes, but I found out that this is the first season that they used and built their New York street set on the studio lot of just like a big long, set. And what they would do was just film it from different angles and kind of film long lenses and a few close-ups, and they would change the storefronts here and there and made it look like this road, and they kind of repurposed it over and over and over again.
Yeah, like it's kind of interesting how they do it, because I was even trying to notice some of the little details. You can see even the leaves of the trees kind of blown in the wind, so they must have had some kind of little wind going. And then they had real vents going through the manholes to push up steam. The manholes, like a whole steam system going in there, so it looks like a real road with steam coming out of the manholes. It's pretty interesting. Like most of the inside look thing on the DVD was about them building the set and kind of how it worked like a real road. And they even pumped in some traffic noise to make it sound like there's traffic going on in the background, that kind of thing.
Because there's always honking in New York City in the background. All kinds of stuff always. Constantly. But they run into George, and he's with
George and Julie.
And Julie, did you notice who played Julie? Jordan?
No.
Does she look familiar to you, Jordan? Well, she
No.
was. That's Michelle Forbes, who was Ensign Ro on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Remember, she had the kind of ridged nose and the headband, Ensign Ro.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a little hard to recognize her without the headband and the ridge.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the
nose.
ridge thing. Yeah.
But that's who plays Julie is Michelle Forbes. So that's if she looked familiar, that's where you probably know her from.
It's like funny when they run into them, they're like hi, hey,
Hey.
big thing. Yeah, but like they're like pretty much just like we're gonna write down all the dialogue, but they kind of had some like small talk, and then they're like asked them if they want to go get some lunch, and like Jerry's like no, I'm full. I just had a big bowl of kicks. Sorry. He's like, well, that's very mature. Yeah.
It's just a real side thing. He's just like, oh, how mature. And then he just keeps going one of those side, like little George quotes. Oh, how mature. How about you? How about you, Elaine? Oh, maybe a salad. What kind of salad? Oh, just a big salad. They have big salads? Oh, yeah, they have big salads.
We went to a coffee shop, and he's like, I'd never seen a big salad. He's like, they have big salad. He's like, is that what I asked for? The big salad? Like, it's okay. Like, don't even worry about it. He's like, no. Like, what's in the big salad? Like, Jerry's like, big lettuce, big carrots, tomatoes like volleyballs.
So they go to they do that, and then we kind of get back up to the apartment, and Kramer there's only about a second until Kramer bursts in with his he hears some noise out there. He opens up. Kramer's got his golf clubs, and he's had a big stink up at the golf course, and that's where we get Kramer's plot with like your name is what you put on there, Jordan, with Steve Ginnison, and he's right. They had a little incident on the golf course.
Yeah, and also right before it too, we were talking about the like quote that I used where like Elaine just like maybe I should just get married, and like Jerry's like you're like dating it. You really starting to get embarrassed, isn't it? Yeah, and then he's like I know, whenever I'm on a date, it's like people can tell. It's like people on a date shouldn't be allowed in public. It's like you can say that again. But one of the things I really like though is that like we watched Julie Louis-Dreyfus like throughout this entire episode, like she has some pretty good physical humor. She's making little faces and going like wow, and doing the little things like just. Or like rolling her eyes, or like
she's really underrated as kind of a physical or like facial comedian. Yeah, like she's really talented. That's like one of her nice little character traits. Like George is in the inflection of how he does things. Jerry's with his kind of sarcasm or childish behavior. Kramer's obviously got the really over the top physical stuff. But like, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is like really good with like the subtle, just kind of her little giggles or like her eye rolling or head bob. Like all of those things. Yeah. But Kramer comes in and he's talking about how he was playing with Steve Ginnison, how they met on the golf course, and he was talking about what
kind of set him off. Yeah.
And that he was well, he has a little subtle thing where he's just like he was beating me by a couple of strokes, he was getting his butt kicked, and but he obviously, I guess, somewhere on the fairway, Ginnison picked up his ball and cleaned it, and then put it back. But you're only allowed to do that. He picks up his ball
and cleans it. He does like a little thing. He's like cleans it or whatever.
You're not allowed to do that. The rules clearly state you're only allowed to do that on the green, and so he was in clear violation. He had to penalize him a stroke.
Yeah, and like Jerry just like certainly you are. Yeah, kind of like he has no clue, but he's just playing along.
Yeah, and he's just like, so what happened? He lost it.
Yeah. Because he penalizes him a stroke or whatever, so he loses. Like he's like he lost it. He's like we came to blows. We were face to face like a manager and an umpire like this. You get up in like Jerry's face, and he's like, now you're getting in my face. Come on, man. But like
his best quote in here was where he does the thing. He's just like, I don't see what the big deal is. He's like, a rule is a rule, Jerry, and as we all know, without rules, there's chaos.
Yeah, there's chaos. Yeah. But there's a little side note that they had some deleted dialogue though. That the line was going to include golf is the gentleman's game, and he is no gentleman. Yeah. But they cut it out. But but then we cut to Monk's diner, and then let's see,
George and Julie.
Yeah. George and Julie just kind of just like doing some small talk, and then they have a little bit of an argument over who's gonna pay for lunch. And so like it's just like a real quick scene, but like they had the quick little argument, and then at the very end, the waitress, she just comes up and she's like, "Here's your big salad," and you see a little look from like George as like Julie grabs it. He's kind of like, okay, whatever.
She grabs it. She goes like, "Thank you." And she walks away, but George does that little like hesitant stare, like off in the distance, that like something's twirling in his brain, like he just noticed something that he's not too happy about. Like it's a real subtle moment.
Yeah. But one of the things I wanted to note though, so the woman actually playing the waitress, she's actually Julia Louis-Dreyfus's half sister, Lauren Bowles, and she shows up in several episodes, but I'm pretty sure that in all the episodes she's always playing the waitress, but she could have some other role. I'm not totally sure, but
I think she's mostly just the waitress. She kind of becomes like sort of a recurring waitress that kind of pops in and out of a few scenes here and there, a few episodes. Kind of also like the black guy who's like the cook that comes out every now and then, like the one where he tells them like you can't have that maple syrup in that one episode when they try to use it. He's like you won't have to use the regular syrup, like he kind of shows up here and there. Like they have a few of those characters. Like there's the cashier, the older lady who plays like the cashier. She kind of shows up here and there. Like they have a few of those little like people that just pop up every now and then. Yeah, she pops up as a waitress a couple times here and there.
Yeah.
Probably 6 or 7 times.
But then we cut back to Jerry's apartment, and you see Jerry on the phone with the stationery guy. He's like, "Hello, no, she's not here. Okay, fine, whatever. I'll tell her. All right, goodbye." And then the stationery store guy called to say that he ordered your pencil. He's like, "I told you." He has ideas.
Yeah, he doesn't even care if a man answers.
Yeah. He's like, "Or you."
Didn't ask.
That's what she says.
Or you. Like, it's a quick little slide. Or you.
Yeah. But then George and Julie come and they're just saying like, "Here's your big salad," and then she's like, "Thank you, Julie," or something like that. Like she kind of emphasizes that, and then she's like, "Oh, you're welcome." So I guess we better get going. We better go meet my mother at the Guggenheim or something like that. And then I think
it's like I'm not much of a Guggenheimer.
Yeah. I wonder like George is already subtly starting to get annoyed that like he doesn't want to go because he's already kind of annoyed about the whole.
Oh no, he's already annoyed. It's completely thrown off his entire situation. That's like all he can focus on. When George gets focused on something like that, he can't focus on anything else. Like that's all he wants to talk about. So he waits for everybody to go, and he goes to Jerry. He's like, you see what just happened there, Jerry? He's like, what? What? He handed her a salad. He goes, "Are you sure? Did you really see what happened?" I bought the big salad. Julie handed the salad to Elaine, but I bought it. He's like, yes. Yeah. I mean,
like, is that a fact?
Do you think she should have said something?
Yeah.
Yeah, she should have.
Yeah, and then he's like, she just took credit for my salad. That's not right. He's like, no, it isn't. He's like, I mean, I'm the one that bought it. He's like, yes, you did. He's like, you think that she should have said something? Well, she could have. It's like, oh, I know. And he's like, imagine her taking credit for your big salad.
It's all Jerry's delivery. Imagine her.
Yeah.
Credit. Well, he's being completely sarcastic, but George does not pick that up because he's so wound up on what has happened here. Like Jerry clearly is just like egging him on, but he's like, he's clearly going like, dude, what does it matter? He's just not saying that. He's just like, who gives a shit? Like he's just it's a salad, and like, but he just is rolling with it just to kind of egg George on, and
like one of the other lines when he's like, you buy a salad for someone, it'd be nice if they knew it.
Yeah, right. And then Kramer busts in, he turns the TV on real quick, and they're talking about how they've got a warrant out for, or they're looking for, or Bobby Pincus, the dry cleaning guy, was found murdered at the dry cleaning store, and it's like a whole news story about him. Yeah. And it's like Gunnison is wanted for questioning. So yeah, Kramer's starting to like freak out because he thinks it has something to do with the blow up at the golf course.
Yeah, like they're like, according to Pincus's wife, Gunnison had been involved in a dispute with the cleaner, but a stain on a pair of gray Sands-about slacks. We have.
Yeah, right.
It was like we also have to report that earlier in the day, the groundskeeper at the Van Cortlandt golf course saw an irate Gunnison leaving the clubhouse in a huff. Whether there's a connection to to it, it's something we'll just have to wait and find out. Yeah. Yeah.
And then he's talking about how he's like, well, what if the blow up
It's like,
the golf
Jerry.
course led to the murdering of the dry cleaners? And Jerry's just like, well, generally speaking, you don't really need an extra incentive to murder a dry cleaner.
Yeah.
Just kind of brushing it off. I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
but the whole thing. So I just want to throw it out there, like the whole thing, like involving Steve Ginnison's death, like it plays out like exactly the same. It's like OJ Simpson like murder trial. So like even all the dialogue and stuff, like very similar to like a lot of dialogue they had at the time and stuff. They kind of play it off of that. So like everything that you see just kind of mirrors that.
Well, and obviously the end of the episode we'll get to it is directly ripped off from the OJ thing. So
yeah. All right.
But we get to George and Elaine taking a cab, and George, of course, he just can't let it go. He's just like, so did you enjoy your lunch? She's like, yeah, it's a big salad. Oh yeah, it's very big. They're just having this like small talk of just like, it's so big I couldn't finish it. Oh yeah,
it's actually too big. Yeah,
too big. Oh yeah, so yeah. He's just like,
she handed you the bag.
She handed you the bag. It's like, what?
Yeah.
No, you just. George is doing this very passive aggressive thing, just like you thanked her, and because she handed you the bag. It's like, what do you get to the point where you're just like what are you talking about, George? Like, what are you getting to? And she's just like, well,
you tried to say,
what's the problem? There's no problem, just a small miscommunication whereby you thanked her instead of the person actually responsible for purchasing the big salad.
Yeah, but like this is one of the scenes where like Elaine has like some great physical humor because the whole time she's like,
well, she sees where you can see the wheels turning in Elaine's head, where she's just like,
it's so
like,
good.
Just, George, you idiot! Like, why are you just like he's so pedantic, like in his stupid demands of like he just has to be right all the time. Like if somebody doesn't tip properly or just whatever, like he just gets so caught up in it. Just like. As we'll find out later, when Julie's just like, all I did was hand somebody a bag. Like George just always takes things like way too serious of like what it actually is.
Way too far, yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good it's good physical just you see Elaine just having this realization like, oh my god, like what is the big deal?
The whole entire time she's just like, I don't care. Who gives a crap?
Don't care what?
Yeah. But one of the things, like when I first watched Seinfeld when it was on the air, like. My favorite characters were probably Jerry and Kramer, but the more that I watch it, though, like I really like Elaine and George. Like they're becoming like two of my favorite.
George has kind of become my favorite character. Oh yeah. No, it's a thing where because you like Jerry and Kramer because they're kind of over the Kramer's obviously the physical over the top guy and doing the big comedy, Jerry's like kind of acts a little childish and sarcastic and you kind of, but then you see like
all the jokes,
the humor where George comes in is just the way he delivers dialogue and how kind of passive aggressive he can be and just like little ways he delivers like little monologues. Like you go to appreciate the more like subtle comedy as opposed to the big like over the top like Kramer type stuff. You know what I mean? Like the big stuff.
Even Elaine too, like all the little subtleties and like the physical stuff and everything. And the more that I watch her too, like I appreciate her more and more too. But yeah. So
we get to meet Margaret, Jerry's girlfriend for this episode, and
I kind of feel like
Margaret kind of hang out. She kind of comes out of nowhere too.
Yeah, she comes out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, he has a girlfriend. All right, well, we'll just roll with it. But like how it just kind of like cuts in the middle of the conversation, and he's like, and Kramer thinks that a penalty stroke may have driven him to it. He's like, well, they haven't arrested him yet. He's like, come on, let's go out.
No, I don't think so.
He's like, I don't think so. He's like,
we don't need a bunch of people. We don't need a bunch of people staring at us. All right.
He's like, who's staring?
Oh,
He's
they're
like, they're
staring.
staring.
They're looking.
Yeah.
They're looking. They know. They're
They
making
know
fun. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. Making fun. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Yeah.
It just goes back to the original, but there's a little knock on the door, and we get a little Newman because he obviously swings the door way open, and they do the whole "Hello, Jerry. Hello, Newman."
Newman,
And just like, oh, wait,
I
have
wonder
you
if you
seen
know what Kramer
Kramer?
was.
I want to talk about this Guinness thing. Isn't it crazy? And they kind of go
Guinness,
on for a
yeah.
second. He's just like, ooh, chocolates.
something
Like he kind of
big.
just gets distracted for a second, but then they have this. It kind of takes a turn because he sees who's in the apartment. It goes, Margaret Newman. It's just like, you two know each other?
Know each
It's
other?
just like,
Yeah.
you
might-
might say that.
You might say that. Like, we used to go out. He's like, he's just like, well, toodaloo. Nice seeing you again, Margaret. Goodbye, Jerry. Have fun.
You get to
Yeah.
see like Newman. You can see the wheels turning in his head where he just realizes what's going on, and of course, they hate each other, so he just goes, "Oh well, have fun." that little Newman laugh he does when he just scurries
Yeah.
off. That's great.
Yeah, like Jerry, he like can't wrap his head around the fact that Margaret went out with Newman. She's like, you went out with Newman? He's like, just a few times. And he's like, why? He's like, well, I liked him. He's like, you like Newman? He's like, look, I'm a little uncomfortable talking about this. Okay. And he's like, no, sorry, I'm a little curious. I mean, why did you stop singing? He's like, he ended it. He ended it?
He ended
like,
it. He ended it.
Yeah, and he's like, yes, a couple of years ago. Why does it matter? It's like, no, of course not. Of course it doesn't matter. Yeah. But then Kramer.
He just
What
comes in and
comes
says they found a tea, so like there's
yeah.
more evidence coming out that's coming. But it cuts
The
to
golf tee in the dry
this
cleaner.
This Jerry Elaine scene is great at the coffee shop because this is where my quote
Yeah.
about pure evil comes in because they're talking about the most interesting part is it's not that they went out, it's that he stopped seeing her.
Her, yeah.
Yeah, but
Do you
why?
understand?
Why did he stop seeing her? Why?
Like how he said it, he's like, Newman stopped seeing her. Newman never stopped seeing anybody. Newman must be whoever's willing to see him. Not so much why did she see him, as disturbing as that is, but why did Newman, stop seeing her?
Yeah.
It's like so funny how he's like phrasing.
Perhaps there's more to Newman than meets the eye. No, there's less. There's less.
There's less.
It's possible. No, it isn't. I've looked into his eyes. He's pure evil.
Yeah. It's like his enigma, a mystery wrapped in a riddle. He's like, yeah.
He's a mystery wrapped in a Twinkie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but we kind of get a call back to the to Elaine's thing, talking about how the guy went to the stationary guy went to the distributor to make a special to go get it, and says he's like got your Rolodex in, and Elaine fesses up that she already went to another store and got one, and he's like, oh, now we better go deal with it, we got to go deal with this whole situation.
Yeah, he called and he was very excited, and he's like,
yeah.
She's like, oh, great, or whatever. Yeah, and then let's see. Oh, and then let's see. Oh, and then Julia comes in to the restaurant for a minute, and then I was like, Elaine's like talking to her, and he's like, oh yeah, how's it going? And he's like, I'm here to meet George. He's like, oh well, then I better get going, otherwise George will make me buy him lunch for that big salad he bought me yesterday. He's like, how do you know that? And then,
yeah. So her wheels,
the
wheels started turning that.
It's a little quick exchange. He's like, something's going on. So like Julie's starting to kind of clue into what's like going on.
Right.
Just kind of suddenly. But then we have one of the best scenes.
We have best scenes because we get the first glimpse of Newman's apartment down in the East Wing because they live on the same floor. But we get our first glimpse inside of, and he's like soaking his feet in like a foot bath. It's weird, like in the middle of the living room, and he's just
Caught me at a bad time.
Caught me at a bad time. He's like, come on, Newman, open the door. And so he gets up and opens the door, and he's just like, what a rare treat! What brings you to the East Wing? Oh, come on, Simon, what happened to you? What happens to you and Margaret? He's like. He's like, can't we discuss? And Jerry's just getting freaked out. He's like, God, just my skin's crawling just being in this rat's nest.
Yeah, in this rat's nest. And what happened? Like, you really want to know what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. She wasn't my type. He's like,
She wasn't my type.
Yeah. She's like, not your type. He's like, not really. He's like, well, how come? She just didn't do it for me. He's like, what's wrong with her? Well, if you're happy with her, then that's all that.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Like, you didn't think she's attractive? He's like, no, I need a really pretty face. But hey, that's me.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, Newman, thanks a lot.
Yeah, he starts to leave, and my favorite line was when Newman just goes like, hey, goodbye, Jerry. Drop by anytime. And does this little laugh.
He's like, care for some lemonade or something? Like, he says
some lemonade. He's just like, he does that little Newman laugh again. Jerry's just like frustrated.
Yeah. But like, I like how they kind of just like cut to these scenes, like right in the middle of a conversation. So like the next scene, we like cut to Jerry's apartment, and then it's Kramer. He's like, "Listen to this: if a player cleans his ball during the play of a hole, except on the putting green, he shall incur a penalty of 1 stroke. That's a rule, Jerry." Yeah,
it's a rule. Yeah.
He's like,
he's talking about how
yeah.
his pants had like a dry cleaning stain, and Pincus denied that it was him, and then he thinks he killed Pincus, and that's when he pulls out the poor Pincus. Poor little Pincus.
Little Pincus. Yeah. Like the way that he says it too.
Yeah.
But like one of
the Pincus.
But one of the lines that I like that he says, and he's like, "Why do you have to be such a stickler?" He's like, "Because that's the way that I was raised. You know, when I was growing up, I had to be in bed every night by 9 o'clock. If I wasn't, well, I don't have to tell you what happened."
We don't have to tell you what happened.
Yeah.
But then they have a quick little conversation about if Kramer or Jerry asks Kramer if he thinks Margaret's, attractive and likes the curls and all this, because he's just trying to justify like going out with her at this point, really, because he just doesn't want anything to do with her.
He's like, "Oh, she's a natural beauty or whatever."
Yeah, she's a natural beauty. Oh, I love the curls and all this stuff.
He's like, "Oh, no makeup, I like that," or something. Kind of like making Jerry kind of think twice because like no makeup or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we cut to George and Julie, and it's finally time for Julie to just be like, to confront him, and just be like, Elaine mentioned, something about how, you better leave or George is going to buy us lunch again and all this. And, how could Elaine be under the impression that you bought the salad when it was I who handed it to her? Oh, she probably, George is kind of, he's containing himself, but then he finally just blows up. He's like, it was a big salad, I was a person who has nothing to do with it except the big salad, without accepting the responsibility for it. He kind of just blows up, and he, says what he really feels. Yeah,
it's like that salad. Yeah, it was like, he's like, how could somebody claim responsibility for that salad, except to thank you under false pretense?
He's like, and that's when she just,
like
throws it all down, which is what George should have realized the first time.
Hand someone a
bag.
Yeah,
she just leaves.
Yeah,
George kind of does a little head nod, like, okay.
Yeah.
And then we get Elaine goes to the stationery store guy again, and he's going like, well, I made a special trip 3 hours out to the distributor. I did all this, and you went and bought it somewhere else. Yeah, I feel really bad. My boss wanted to do this, and he's just like, I had a fight with the foreman. All this, and he's just like, I'm just awfully sorry. He goes, well, how sorry are you?
Yeah.
She's like, how about we go out tonight?
Yeah, and and she's like, okay, like she doesn't want to do it. She's like, okay. Like it's the worst thing in the world, like she could ever possibly do or something. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. But like the next scene, like,
oh my god, I love this scene.
They cut over to like Margaret's car. They're like in the back of it, and they're like, she's like, they found a tea, and he played golf that day. Nobody walked into a dry cleaners with a tea. That circumstantial evidence is overwhelming. And he's like,
Jerry's got this blank stare on his face. He just goes, like, you had how many dates with him? 3 dates?
3? Yeah. He was obsessed with like the whole Newman thing.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, around 3, I don't know. It's like, and he's like,
yeah,
I told you they stopped calling me and I moved on. I'm not hung up on him. What are you looking at? He's like, Like, what?
No,
I'm not looking at anything. Yeah. Like, why
you look at my face?
Where else am I gonna look? But then she wants him to kiss her, and like he can't do it.
He can't
He
do
like
it.
leans in.
It's too
He's like,
much.
no, I can't do this. So
No.
she throws him out of the car or whatever.
And he does the whole like he sits back up. And he just does the whole Newman.
Yeah, yeah.
It's great.
Like
he does that a couple episodes
on the sidewalk. Yeah. But like then it cuts back to Jared's apartment, and he's like trying to explain it to Elaine, and he's like, all I could think of when looking at her face was Newman found this acceptable. It's like, well, like, and they're just kind of like doing the whole thing, like they're all like in their own conversation because Elaine's like, well, I'm going out with the stationery guy, and he's like, you're going out with the stationery store guy? It's like I felt so guilty about the pencil that I couldn't say no.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Of course, and then George comes in and he just blows up. I'm not ordering you lunch anymore. You know,
well, yeah.
if it was just a regular salad, I would have let it slide. And that's when he comes in and he goes, but you had to order the big salad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then basically the final thing is Jerry gets a call. They turn on the TV, and it's the OJ Bronco chase footage that everybody's seen 1,000 times of like the actual Bronco. But we cut to the inside, and it's Gendison's running from the police, and Kramer's driving the car. And he's just in the car phone, and he's just like, this is Kramer. I got Gendison in the car, and I'm taking him to see his fish. So tell the police to back off.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's like talking on the speaker or something, isn't he? Like on the loudspeaker or something. Like the police. Yeah.
Oh, he's on a car. He's on a car phone, and he's talking to 911. And he's like, "My name's Kramer. You know who I am. Damn it."
Yeah.
And then him and Gendison just argue about traffic. You should have taken the turnpike. What if we taken the turnpike? Would have hit the traffic. Back and forth. And
he's like, we would have taken the Palisades. This never would have happened.
Yeah.
He's like, we would have had all that bridge traffic or something.
Yeah.
Like, just drive. Yeah.
And then the final bit is back to Jerry's stand-up, and it's talking about how the idea of murder and like revenge, and how murder doesn't really seem like it's just a one-time thing. Like, wouldn't years of subtle psychological torture be better than just a murder? Just subtly messing with somebody over years and years and years. Like, it's a whole thing about like just slowly torturing somebody.
Yeah, like sending pizzas and like taxi cabs to their house all night long, and after a while, like, wish that guy would kill me already. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a solid episode, man. It's good stuff. I kind of got into just about everybody's little side plots on this one. Some good moments from pretty much everybody. Like you said, there's good Elaine stuff with her facial expressions and like the cab scenes and things like that. There's great passive aggressive George, just blowing up over nothing. There's, Kramer, you get some of his moments where he's doing the umpire there. He lost it, you get the good Kramer stuff. You get Jerry being very, pedantic with, his little stares of like not being able to hold attention, just getting obsessed over something. You get some awesome, this is a great Newman episode. If you're a fan of Newman, like there's some good Newman in this episode. Because he's always great when he shows up. But yeah, it's good stuff all around. I liked it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the first time that we get like get out of here, like from like Jared, because like when he like turns on the like TV, he's like explaining it to everyone. He's like, oh my god, get out of here. He's like, listen to this. They issued a warrant for Gendison's arrest. He escaped the police and spotted him in the New Jersey Turnpike or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's like get out of here, but later on the like, dude, they get out of here with the like shove people or whatever. Get out of here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I wouldn't say that it's my like favorite episode, but it's like probably my top 10 though. Like this is one of my top 10 probably favorite episodes.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like a top 10
salad.
Top 10 for me, but it's a really good like.
I love
it's one of those good episode of like again good solid character moments from everybody, really good dialogue, everybody's plot line is funny, and again you get some great Newman, which anytime you get some great stuff from like a prominent side character, it's really solid. So like it's a good like 8.5 out of 10 for me. Like it's a really good episode. Like it's a really strong late season episode for me for sure.
Yeah, if I were to give it a rating, I'd probably give it about a 9 out of 10. So yeah, like it was a really strong episode. Good. So yeah. So but yeah, so but yeah, so next time on Hello from Movie Hero, we're gonna be covering season 2, episode 3, entitled no, I'm sorry, season 1, episode 3, entitled The Stakeout, and then on season 6, episode 3, The Pledge Drive will be the next
Pledge Drive. I think we're gonna get some Uncle Leo in that episode who we haven't really seen yet on the show, so that should be pretty good.
Some good old Uncle Leo, but what do you want to? You want to jump into the Seinfeld game? So like,
sure.
Yeah. So like, I picked up this Seinfeld game here for anyone watching here. So we're gonna go through some of the questions, and then since we don't each have a copy, Austin, you have some.
I just pulled up like a general like online quiz kind of thing, so I'll just throw through those questions at you afterwards. Yeah, for sure.
So we can kind of see how it goes. Like I thought maybe played to like 5, but if we get to 5 quick, we could go to 10. It just depends, like if it goes quick or whatever. Whatever.
All right.
So yeah. So here I'm gonna pull up a little thing to like keep score. Let's see.
Sure.
I'll do it here. All right. Here we go. So I'm thinking since I have the game, maybe I'll just read a question to you first, and you can kind of answer first, and we'll just kind of go back and forth.
Sure, we'll go back and forth. Yeah, because I've got like a quiz with like 50 or so I'll just pick out a couple of different ones and see what happens. Nothing too crazy, just kind of middle of the road Seinfeld questions.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah, and from the Seinfeld game too, they actually have just general trivia, but then they have quotes you can answer, and I think they have like an acted out, but we're gonna skip the acted out. That's a little hard to do over the
internet.
Yeah, over the internet. Yeah. But yeah. So the first question here, and I gotta double check here because they have the answers on the back. Okay. Yeah. So the first question is which character makes the most money off a hot stock tip? From Seinfeld.
Off a hot stock tip. Is that George?
That is correct. Yeah, that would be.
Okay. I think that's George. In the season 1 episode, the stock tip, right? Coming up. Yep, I think it's like episode 5 or something like that. Yeah, we're gonna get to that one soon. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, that one's coming up. So yeah. A point for you. So do you want?
All right. So in the Bizarro episode with all the Bizarro characters, what's the name of the Bizarro Newman?
Oh, the Bizarro Newman.
Right near the end of the episode. He's also a delivery guy. He's not a postal worker. He's like a FedEx kind of delivery guy.
Well, it's just gonna be a guess. It's gotta be like, I don't know. I almost want to say like Nedry, but that's like his other character.
No. That's like Jurassic Park character.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got to be like Naaman or something like that, or is that something close?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
No, it starts with a V. Can you get it? If I give you a hint.
No, probably not. You have to...
All right, his name is Vargas because Bizarro Jerry goes Vargas. Because Vargas actually, like, they're actually friends. They're not enemies, because it's Bizarro Land. So they're actually like good friends. And it's Bizarro Land. So they always the Feldman, the Kramer one is always like bringing him groceries instead of raiding his refrigerator. It's always the opposite. Yeah.
But so the next one, this is a quote here. So like you said, this quote. There's nothing more pathetic than a grown man who's afraid of a woman.
Ooh.
He would have said
that. Sounds like something Kramer would say.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It's from Kramer from the episode the pool guy, I guess.
Oh, the pool guy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. What famous stand-up comedian plays a video store clerk at Champagne Video?
The There's a couple that I'm thinking of.
He's a pretty popular stand-up comedian, a shorter guy.
Let's see. A shorter guy. Let's see.
Yeah. He tells George, he's the one who has to tell George that breakfast at Tiffany's is already rented.
It wasn't like Rob Schneider, was it? Was it? Oh, no. Now you're frozen again. I'll have to wait. So my guess is officially Rob Schneider, but
you kind of froze on me for a second. You back?
Yeah. So my guess was Rob Schneider. I don't think it's correct, but I thought maybe it was.
No, Rob Schneider was on Seinfeld. He was one of the office guys. But no, it was Patton Oswalt. Remember an early Patton? Oswalt.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Plays the video store clerk because George tries to get the address of who rented it, and he's like, "We can't do that, sir." Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we can't give out that information. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so next one, there's another quote. So, but it says, "You realize, of course, you're naked."
This is, of course, you're naked. Is that the naked episode with Jerry? Where Jerry's talking about his girlfriend? Okay.
Yeah.
He's got the naked girlfriend running around the apartment.
Yeah, but the episode is called The Subway. Is what it's called. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So
all right, I'll give you an easy one. All right, this is a really easy one.
Right.
So while Kramer and Jerry are watching an operation, what kind of candy do they drop into the body?
Oh yeah. Oh, geez, yeah, Junior Mint.
The Junior Mints, yeah. I'll give you an easy one, so I give you a point.
The Junior Mint.
It's a Junior Mint. It's chocolate. It's peppermint. It's delicious.
Delicious, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so. Oh, and also too, I forgot that there's some multiple choice ones because a little trickier question, but you get multiple choice on. So let's see. We might be able to get it before the multiple choice.
We'll see. We'll ask the question first, and then see if I need multiple choice. Ask it first.
So why does Jerry get offended when the dentist converts to Judaism and starts telling Jewish jokes in the episode Yada Yada Yada?
So why does he?
Yeah.
Well, I thought he gets offended because he started. Well, it offends him as a comedian because he's using it for the jokes.
Yeah.
It offends me as a comedian. Yeah.
Offends me as a comedian.
That's the quote.
That's it. Yep. That's the answer. All right. 4 points. All right.
There
you go.
All right. I'll give you another relatively easy one.
Okay.
What does Kramer start using in place of shaving cream to shave his body?
Oh. Well, the answer I want to say, but I think that might be something else. But
well, and I'll tell you, in the episode, Jerry starts using it too. So.
Oh. Was that the episode where he catches like Jerry shaving his chest hair? He's like, every time it grows back thicker and fuller. Is it that one?
I think so, but I can't. But anyways, let's just say Kramer gets something cooked into himself. What does he cook into himself when he's shaving?
I want to say that.
What is he using?
It's like some kind of turkey broth that he's like basting himself with, isn't it? Like that, like something like that.
No. He's doing the butter shave. He's shaving with butter.
The butter shave. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Remember, he gets a whole tub of it from monks that they give him a whole thing of butter. So he starts shaving with his whole body with butter.
I knew that it was some kind of food that they could smell on him or something like that. Yeah. Like in the end, they imagine Kramer like some kind of turkey or something, and he's waving like a.
Well, that's the thing. Well, Newman gets baked. He gets sunburned. He gets sunburned on the roof when he's got the butter all over him. So he smells like butter, and then like Newman starts thinking he's like a turkey, and then like he gets like Parmesan sprinkled all over him, like because of an accident in like a kitchen, and then wants to eat him.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, here's one for you. So. Which character meets with George's ex-girlfriend in order to get his books back?
Get his books back.
Yeah.
I don't know that one. I can't remember. It must be an early episode. I don't know.
Was Jerry in the episode that the ex-girlfriend? So I think it's like someone where like he like leaves his books over there. We'll go over at her apartment and then like he was he doesn't want to go back and see her, but then like find that like people use that as a tactic to go back and see your ex one more time or something like that. Like something to do with that. And you leave something over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So George says that if he ever became a porn star, he would use what name as his porn star name?
What name?
Yeah. Well, Jerry spoils it because he guesses it first, and it's because he already told him. But it's a very typical stupid name.
I don't know. Like I don't even know, like Big Johnson or something. I don't know.
Almost. You're close, but it's Buck Naked.
Oh, okay. Buck Naked, yeah. No.
Yeah, Buck Naked.
So the next question has multiple choice, but you can see if you need it or not.
Okay.
So, but after going into after getting into an argument with Jerry, where does Kramer decide to go in the episode the keys and why? Where does he decide to go?
Keys. Oh, these are like early episodes, like really early. See, I don't know the first like 2 seasons very well. I think this is like a season 2 episode. Yeah, give me multiple choice. Yeah.
Okay, is it A, down to Florida to visit Jerry's parents, B, Texas to find the best barbecue chicken in America, C, LA to pursue his dreams of being an actor, or D, England to uncover the origin of Stonehenge?
It's not the LA one because that was a 2-part episode called something else. I want to say the Texas thing, but I could be wrong. I want to say the Texas thing. Is that it?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah,
nope.
I'm probably wrong.
No, okay. It was actually LA, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like a 2-part episode where he went off missing for a little while. Called something
isn't
else.
that the one where like he ends up in the back of like some kind of van with a bunch of guys or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, he gets like kidnapped or something. Yeah.
Then like when it comes back, you see some kind of weird scene where he's like bouncing around in the car or something and like driving all weird or something.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So when Kramer got a rooster, what's the name he gave his rooster?
We called it Little Jerry.
Yeah, it's Little Jerry.
Little Jerry, yes.
Look. Yep. And then when he's about to fight the big rooster, he goes, Little Jerry's going to get his cluck cleaned.
Yeah, right. Cluck clean, yeah. All right, 2-4. So here's another quote one. That's
okay.
Well, I figure if it doesn't work out, I can always flush him down the toilet.
Flush him down the toilet. The hell?
Figure if it doesn't work out, I can always flush him down the toilet.
No, you got me on that one. I'm stumped. I don't know.
It's actually a Jerry from the episode The Pick, but like I don't remember like what it's referring to. Like flush it down the toilet. I don't remember it. But,
is it the toothbrush?
It might be. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's one episode where the toothbrush falls in the toilet or something.
Oh, I know that one. That's the one with Kristen Davis from Sex and the City. But yeah. All right. What's the name of the muffin place that Mr. Lipman opens up?
Is it called Top of the Muffin? Is that what it is?
Top of the Muffin.
To you? I don't know. Top of the Muffin.
Yeah, you got it. Top of the Muffin
right.
to you.
Yeah.
To you. Because they have an argument about where the exclamation mark goes. Because he goes, Top of the Muffin to you.
To
Top
you?
of the Muffin to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from the Muffin Tops episode. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It doesn't like in that episode like Kramer like do some with like all the bottoms or something.
Well,
Or
he
giving
tries
a
to get the
Newman or-
stumps to. Well, he tries to get the stumps to a homeless shelter, but like they don't want it because all they wonder is where the tops are, and they don't want the stumps. And then he
Yeah.
tries to go.
Nobody wants the
It's when he's
stumps.
doing the Peterman reality bus tour, and so he loads them all in the back of the bus. And he tries to take them to the different landfills, but the landfills won't take him. And then finally, they call a cleaner, kind of like the wolf in Pulp Fiction that you just watched, and like Newman pulls up in like a Ferrari, just like the wolf does, and then he pulls out a bunch of milk, and he's just gonna eat them all.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, let's see. Here, and then go with the cup. Okay, let's see. So, which character is afraid a relative's funeral will interfere with their softball game?
Was that the George what's her name? Bette Midler softball game?
No, it's actually Jerry from the Pony Remark episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The only softball game I remember is the one where they have Bette Midler in there running around.
I think that they're like, Jerry's on a softball team, and I want to say that he gets some kind of ex-ball player to like be on the softball team with them or something like that.
Yeah,
so
something like that.
They have some kind of big game or something. So yeah. Who's Jerry?
All right. So which candy bar company does Sue Ellen Mishke have the heir to?
Oh, she's the heir to the O. Henry candy bar.
Yeah, the O. Henry candy bars. Good job. Yeah.
She's the Brawless Wonder, the heir to the O. Henry.
The Brawless Wonder, yes.
All right, 4-4.
Making a big comeback. Right. He's stumping me with these cards he's got in front of him.
Yeah.
Doing all these out of context things I don't remember from early episodes. It's all early shit.
This one's easy. I was going to read it to you anyway if you're going to get it, but it's a multiple choice. I don't know how this one's even like a multiple choice, but it says, what is Newman's profession? That's what it is.
Well, he's a postal employee. Newman.
Yeah.
Postal worker.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that one's too easy. Give me that one.
Yeah.
That's too easy.
Okay.
There's literally episodes that center around him being a postal employee, so that's too easy.
Okay. Here you go. This one's multiple choice if you need it, but it's
right.
What project do Jerry and George collaborate on in season 4? What project kind of carries over to like?
Well, they go to write the pilot, right? The show about nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the pilot. Yes, the show about nothing. Yep.
Yeah, they want to go write the pilot to NBC.
Yeah.
George wants to contribute more than he actually contributes. Right.
I
guess Jerry wrote it, and like George just like wants to be there to like help him pitch it.
Yeah. So 5-4.
And I'll give you one more just to see if you can make it a tie, and we'll call it a tie.
Okay.
Let's see. All right, you already said that one in your thing, so let me find another one. So which company steals Kramer's idea for his cologne, for his beach cologne?
Is it Ralph Lauren? Is that it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you another guess. It's another big company, kind of like Ralph Lauren.
I think Ralph Lauren might be like Friends or something.
Yeah.
But is it Calvin Klein?
You got it, Calvin Klein.
All right. There you go.
Nice.
Calvin Klein.
We'll call it a tie. All right. Good job.
Tie. All right.
Nice.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, that was fun though.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, we got a couple of good episodes coming up. So like, and I would recommend to everyone that might be watching that you want to keep up with when we're gonna have the next episode. Definitely hit the subscribe button, click the little bell, and then just watch all the social media. The social media that's Movie Hero 2121, and that's on Twitter, Instagram, and then we also have Movie Hero 2121 at gmail.com. So if you ever have any suggestions for any future episodes of any of our shows, you can hit us up there, and you can find some updates also in the Schwinn on Friends and Family group over on Facebook. So but yeah, I think that'll do it for us tonight. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we've got and movie tournament fights battles tomorrow night. Featuring the TV shows. So that's literally coming at you tomorrow night, and I'll still be live from Orlando for that episode. So luckily my lighting's decent, and I actually sound, and my Wi-Fi's okay. I had a little wonky moments here and there, but it's mostly okay. That's not bad.
Yeah, we don't want to forget about that. We're gonna have Jen Kemp, we're gonna have Steven Shepard, and then Moose Ha is on the episode. So that should be
it's going to be Moose's first tournament fight. So I know that should be interesting. And Jen's been on a couple of tournament fights. She was on the game show episode. She was on a couple of our favorite movies ones. So like she's very familiar with tournament fights. And of course we just did Steven Shepard's 64. So go check that out if you haven't seen it. His top 64 episodes of tournament fights that we did, and we came up with his new favorite movie. And that was a lot of fun. So, and then we've got time travel movies on Tier Ranker fights coming up on Friday, right?
Yeah. So we got a pretty cool panel for that too. We're gonna have both parts of Late to the Party. So we're gonna have Robert and Vanessa on the episode, and then we're also gonna have Andres Gallegos is going to join us for that.
Jen Kemp again, because she can't get enough of the shows on here on Movie Hero.
Exactly. She's one of our favorite guests, so we always have her.
She's awesome. Jen's great. She's great to have. Yeah. She's super fun. She gets
in like one of the one of the crew. So yeah.
And Moose is becoming quickly one of our favorite guests too, which is why we wanted to have him on more than just our sports shows, because he's been on a lot of our sports shows. But he's, like I said, he's never been on tournament fights. But we're excited for that because you got his you told me, we're not going to spoil anything, but you kind of have seen everybody's TV shows thing, because what it is, Jordan, we should explain. It's a tournament fights battle. So the four of us turned in our top 16 TV shows. And we had to do a few alternates because some of us had some crossover, obviously, for a few things. But essentially, all of our favorite TV shows are going to get thrown into the thing, and we'll see what TV show comes out on top. So you said there's some pretty interesting ones that are going to have some matchups in there, so it should be fun.
Oh yeah. With some big heavy hitters going up against each other, and since everything's randomized, like you could get some pretty big matchups in the first round, or we could wait till the second.
Here's a hint:
the third round for the big matchup. You never know.
You might see Seinfeld in the tournament, just to let you know.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Can you tell that's a favorite of ours? I mean, come on.
Yeah, really. So you might see that one. That's not spoil anything. It's obviously a favorite of ours. It'll be in the tournament. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a heavy favorite. So we'll see.
Yeah. And also, probably the next of our kind of auxiliary shows that I kind of call it sometimes is that next up will be our Saturday Night Live recap show live from Movie Heroes, and watch for that. That's why it's always important to hit the little bell and to keep up with all of our social media, because that episode will be coming up in about roughly 1 to 2 weeks. We don't know exactly when, but we're definitely making some announcements on that coming up. So.
Well, and that one, I believe the next episode in the season of 12 we're doing is Valerie Bertinelli, I believe. So we'll just stick with that for now, because I didn't think of any. I didn't really gone ahead, so we'll just go with that one. But then for our wild card episode to coincide again, much like we did football movies on Tier Ranker fights, we're going to do the episode where Peyton Manning hosted. It's a pretty famous episode, so we're going to be doing that for our wild card episode. So we're going to get another football star and see. Peyton, go back and see. I remember it being a pretty good episode, so we'll go back and see how it played out.
Oh yeah, that one's classic for sure. Yep. But yeah, that was a fun time again. So we'll call it good there. So for Austin, poor Minkus tonight, and I've been Steve Gennison tonight, and we will see you next time.